Yes, sir. Not yet. Hello, good morning. If you can hear and see me, can please tell me in the chat box. Okay, good morning. You're welcome. So we're just waiting a few minutes so that other people can join. We'll start shortly. Okay, while we wait for that, so you can tell me your name and where you're joining us from. Just a brief introduction. Okay, I think this is better. Good morning, everyone. Please introduce yourself. I think I've unmuted everyone, so you can tell me where you are joining us from, your name, and the purpose of attending this webinar.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Yomo Ebenezer Kayode. I'm joining from Fasagba, Hospital,
Good morning, sir.
Physiotherapy, Physical. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. I
I'm
can hear
joining
you
from
clearly.
Fasagba.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other person want to introduce themselves? If you don't want to talk, you can just use the chat box. That's also fine. If you are shy, you don't want to let us hear your voice, you can use the chat box. Okay, so in the next 3 minutes, we'll be starting the webinar. So we just want to use this remaining 3 minutes to wait for people that are coming. Okay. Okay, good morning. We have some new people that have joined us. You can please introduce yourself in the chat box, so you can just unmute and introduce yourself. Okay. Let me unmute Sijo starts. Yes, Sijo for start. Yes, I've unmuted you so you can talk. Okay. Okay, so we can start now. I want to officially welcome everyone to this webinar. You're welcome. My name is Mercy, and I'm the Digital Marketing Officer of Avaro Digital. I welcome everyone of you to this exciting webinar. Thank you for taking out your time, your Saturday, your weekend. You know, weekend is usually for resting and all, but thank you for taking out your time to join us in this experience. And we know that at the end of this webinar, you're going to enjoy it. So I'm just going to give a quick and brief introduction of Avaro Digital. Some of you might know who we are, some might know. So I'll just give a quick under 2 minutes so that we don't waste our time. So Avaro Digital is a digital tech company specialized in Lagos State, UK, and US. So basically, all we do, website design. Our services include website design, website development, digital marketing, branding, procreation, and many more. So we just, if you have a business, anything you want to do, as long as it's relating to tech, you want to create a website, you want to maintain your website, you already have your website, and we're always there with affordable pricing and all. So with me in this meeting, I have our presenter, and okay, Joshua, please mute your mic so that we don't get echoes, so that the network can be clear. Thank you very much. So with me here, we have the CEO of Avaro Digitals, which is is the one that is going to take over this webinar. Is the one teaching us this website jargon. We are here for understanding website jargon and the basics of website development. Mr. Raphael Ogudiron. So he's the one that is going to take over right now for this webinar, throughout the time of this webinar. So he is the CEO of Avaro Digitals, and with me also I have some other staff from Avaro. So shortly, in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to hand over to him to take over. So we'll just use this 2 minutes. If you have not introduced yourself, you can just do that in the chat box, or just unmute your mic and do that. And if you want to turn on your camera, that's totally fine. I think I have enabled everyone to turn on their camera. Thank you. And welcome once again. And if you're excited to be here, you can just drop an emoji in the chat box so that I can know that we are happy to be here. You can just drop an emoji, any type, anyone that is expressing your happiness, can just drop it in the chat box.
Okay, everyone, good morning. I want to be sure that you can all hear me. Please attest to that if you can hear me clearly. I want to be sure that everybody can hear me. Yes, I know some other persons are joining us. First and foremost, I want to appreciate everybody that is here at the moment. Thank you for taking out very expensive time and then joining us. It's not easy to actually leave a party day and then come on here to say you want to learn something. It's quite impressive to have people joining us to learn. We kind of appreciate that. Thank you. So while I go into the webinar proper, I'm sure everybody can hear me. I think some people are having issues joining us. It's okay. And this same webinar is actually live on YouTube. We're sharing out the link. I think if you are not joining us now, maybe you're finding issues or whatever it is, you can also go back to YouTube and then watch the webinar. So, okay, let's just go ahead. Again, you're welcome. Welcome to our webinar. In summary, this webinar is to actually introduce us the technical jargon, to the technical jargon being used by the website designers. Yeah, the agenda is not something that will take us a lot of time. We just want to try and be able to cover up few things so that when you are outside there talking to somebody about website, they know you definitely have an idea of what you are talking about. Yeah. During the webinar, I would expect that we conform with the rule. So because it's not just to be here, it's just for you to listen and then be able to take something with that essence of this webinar. And I hope that at the end of the webinar, you'll be glad that you are here, learned something. Okay, so we are starting the presentation now. And I expect that our phones are mute or silence, whatever it is that can distract us, we can take that off for now. To kick off, I want everybody to confirm that my voice is audible enough. That's very necessary so that you don't struggle to listen to me. So if you are having any difficulties, please drop a chat. There will be message there that would actually be attending to. Oh, okay, I got that message. I need to speak up. Don't mind me. I think I have a little cracked voice. Okay, I know everybody can hear me now. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. So first and foremost, I think I would want to explain what a website is. I know it is quite interesting when people talk about websites. However, a whole lot of people find it difficult to explain in simple terms what a website is. Yes, we didn't just come up with this webinar. We actually thought about a whole lot of things, talked about a whole lot of things. And one of the things we usually look through in this webinar, it is to engage people so that they can understand what is going on in the website world. It's possible to meet somebody who does not know anything about tech, and then the person comes to you and say, I want a website. Or even if you're a business owner and then you don't know anything about tech, or you have a little or no idea, and you want to say you need a website. So if you are talking to people, they must be able to tell you, a good website designer or maybe an expert should be able to tell you what a website is in simple terms. So that's exactly what this webinar will cover. So I want to say website refers to collection of related web pages that are accessed through the internet. So let me break it down. When I say collection, it means that I want to bring it back to our day-to-day life activities. For example, you wake up in the morning, you want to go for party. So I know after picking your dress in your wardrobe, so this wardrobe you have gone to, it would usually have a collection of clothing or maybe native attire, whatever it is. There will be a collection there. However, it doesn't guarantee that you will have your shoes in the same wardrobe. So it means if you do not have everything in one place, you could go to another place. And that's why we have website. So if it was um, easy for people to just have just one website, like the world is using just one website, then you would understand that there's going to be a lot of problem. So that's why we say collection of related. The word related means you cannot say you want a website as a business owner selling fish, and along the line in the same website you find you selling clothes. So that's the definition of the word related. And all these things are access to internet. Of course, we know what internet is all about. It means you must have some kind of connection before you can access it. I will be moving to the next slide, which literally talks about how a website is wired. Yes, you will agree with me. A lot of people struggle about how a website works, and I want to explain this in a layman language. Now, you wake up in the morning and you are given an assignment in school, and your instructor practically told you go to a library, pick so thing. When you whatever it is you learn from there, come back to class the next day and come and tell me. Now, this is how a website works. Because you are new to the environment, you don't know where the library is, you get to your school gate, maybe you meet somebody on the road, you can see a lady trying to struggle with her phone, looking for something. So it means the lady wants to visit the library. He asked the guy, and then the guy told her, this is the way to the library. Now, on getting to the library, your library in the technical jargon, when it comes to websites, your library, the address in which this woman is giving you is called domain. Let me explain. We would definitely come back to this terms and then break it down. But right now, I just want you to understand how a website is wired. How does a website works? Now, as a lady, you've gone to the library, and then it means that that library really exists. If this library does not exist, there is a number I have written on this slide that says 404. 404 means that they can't find that library. It means that the address does not exist. So if you are also new to a place and then you are looking for a place to eat out, and somebody gives you an address, oh, there's one big eatery in that area. Just go through this, go this, and on getting there, you can't find the eatery. It means that the domain never exists. And if a domain does not exist, a website can never exist. That's what it means. In fact, it will just tell you some kind of error. This error 404 is actually tied to another thing. If you get error 404 on your website, it means that that page you are looking for is not available. So, but right now, what I'm trying to say is, if you visit the library and then you get to a spot that the address is being given and you can't find it, it means that it never existed. And that's a domain. So now, if you have access to the library, which is the domain, then it will now go in. It will allow you in, somebody will usher you in and say, oh, good afternoon, good morning, what do you want? You walk in. After walking in, you would definitely be introduced to maybe an inventory officer or a librarian, rather, that would guide you on what shelf. Some library will even volunteer to help you pick up the book and give it to you for you to read, and that's okay. That's the end of the transaction. So right now, from the library, we are moving into the reading point. That point means you are being given what you want. There's a difference between getting to a library and then sitting to read and not finding the book you want to read. So that's another thing. And that's why you will see that at this time, a lot of people struggle. A lot of people struggle. You go to some website and then they will tell you it does not exist. It means that, yes, their domain exists, but something is wrong at the back end, which is where you are supposed to see the website. Now, if you are given the book and then you start to read, in technical jargon, we call that a user. So who is a user? A user is somebody who has successfully found the library, sit in the library hub, read, and then when the person is done, the person finds his or her way out of the library to go home. Now, let's bring it back to website. You want to buy something online, or you are looking for a particular service online. First thing you do is they must have a domain. When you have this domain, they must also have an active hosting because library will not have parked their books on the street. If they are putting all those books on the street, then why do they need to tell people to walk in? People can usually pick the book and then walk away. And that's not the way a website works. What happens is you must have a domain. After you have a domain, you must move to an hosting. This hosting is where all your information, your books, in real life scenario, your file, your page, your MP3, your videos, everything as regarding what your business does will be in this posting. That is when a user can be available. You cannot say you have a user for a website when that website never exists. So I think I'll be moving to the next slide. Yes, we know that people will be having questions. As soon as you have any question, please you can share. Endeavor to share in the group. Yeah, I know there's going to be a section where all questions will be answered. So please just pay attention for now, and then when we get to that spot, we can ask the question. Now, let's move to the next slide. Okay. The next slide will talk about, I think before classification, we should also understand what type of website we have. And this website, why are they different from each other? So I'll quickly run through this. Currently, we have a lot of types of websites, but I think these are ones that people are familiar with. And then, as a beginner or somebody who wants to understand how a website works, you should have a little knowledge about types of websites. I'll start with the e-commerce website. E-commerce website is a website that the only thing that happens there is buying and selling. You sell something, and then people come and buy. That's e-commerce. So when you are looking for a website, you're a business owner, you want to sell bags, you want to sell shoes, you want to sell your books, you want to sell your consultancy service. However, some consultancy service cannot be classified as e-commerce if you do not have a payment platform on it. So why we say online buying and selling is everything starts on the website and ends on the website. So in a proper e-commerce setting, we would expect that everything you are buying will be delivered to you. So now, example of e-commerce. In Nigeria, we talk about Jumia. However, internationally, we talk about Amazon, we talk about eBay, we talk about Alibaba, different kind of websites like that. Because all they do is just buying and selling. That's what they do. Now, I'll move to the next one, social networking website. If you look at LinkedIn, if you look at Instagram, if you look at Facebook, yeah, they have a web platform. They also have a mobile platform. Their web platform typically what it does is it's connecting people to each other. So it's like, oh, I want to get known by people. I want to share my dreams. I want to make friends. These are kind of websites you go to and you can easily interact with people. So you cannot go to an e-commerce website and say you want to interact with people. Definitely you will not find anybody there. The only thing you keep saying is product. And then you see amount and then you see cards, people buy and then they walk away. Number three, I would talk about news websites. News websites are powerful. They are one of the websites that requires a whole lot of things to set up because of the kind of classification they maintain. We definitely go to the classification in the next slide. So let's not worry ourselves about it. So right now, we'll be dealing with news website. What does a news website entails? What they do is just tell you about things. They tell you about what's currently happening in your environment, what's happening in the country, what's happening about contacting people. For example, if you go to Linda Ikeji, you talk about celebrity, it talks about what's happening everywhere in the country. So these are kind of news website. Yeah, blogging website. When I say blog, a lot of people, yeah, Linda Ikeji has moved from being a blog to become a news website. And I'll tell you the difference between blog and news. A blog will typically talk about one thing. For example, if you go to Jumia Food Nigeria, Jumia will not go and talk about the accident that happened in Benin or the accident that happened in a city that you don't know. Do you understand? So the only thing they would definitely be bent on is they want to talk to you about food. And that's what becomes a blog. A blog literally just address a particular point of view, not that it talks about everything. No. So that's why people, when they sometimes when I'm having consultation and people come to me to say, "Oh, I want a website, I want a blog website, I want this, I want that," and I tell them, "Okay, what kind of website do you want?" They say, "Oh, like Linda Ikeji, I just want a blog," and I would definitely tell them that, "Sorry, Linda Ikeji has stopped being a blog. Linda Ikeji is now a news website. So be specific. What exactly do you want?" So now I think you can now differentiate between a blog and a news website. Blog will tell you about one thing in particular. For example, if you are a lady and you find out that people are having issues with marital life and you want to choose to start a blog, everything you'll be writing on that blog will definitely be about marriage or relationship. So that makes you a blogger. Now, the moment you start saying, oh, you want to start talking about people's life, you want to talk about what's happening around the environment, then it means you are becoming a news website because definitely you are taking information from different sources. And then that's the difference between a blog and a news website. Now, for educational websites, we call them learning management system. That's the typical word you will find everywhere. But I needed to break it down in this webinar. Educational website. These are websites that when you go there, the only thing they offer is educational resources. You just learn and live. In that place, you don't make friends. In that place, you don't have to write about the story of your life. You are not sharing anything personal with anybody. You just want to learn. In fact, you can choose to give feedback or not, and then you walk away. So it means that it is specifically designed to learn. So if you are looking for a platform or you want to build a website where people can learn, you can then tell, I think confidently now, you can tell your web developers or your website designer that I want a learning management system website or I want an educational website. So, and then you can make reference to websites like Coursera, Khan Academy, Udemy. So now let's move to government websites. Yeah, government websites are websites that provides information specifically about the government. For example, if you go to CBN website, CBN will not talk about NAFDAC. No, NAFDAC will not talk about NDLEA. NDLEA will not talk about EFCC. And this is why they are different. It means they are going to be having their website tailored to the information and then services they provide. So that's a government website. Entertainment websites, of course, I don't think there's anybody on this webinar who has not used Netflix or never heard of Netflix. If you don't know Netflix, you should know YouTube. Entertainment website, what it does is it just gives you a light mode. However, it doesn't mean that if you watch YouTube, you'll be happy. So it's just by virtue of the word entertainment. So entertainment is something that takes you from your own space and then makes you feel more social, comfortable about the environment and what's happening around you. So I think YouTube is one part of it, Netflix is one part of it, Spotify, and a lot of them like that. Those are entertainment websites. So if you are looking for a website that would um, serve as an entertainment purpose for you, you should be looking at building a model like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube. Trust me, all these sites do different things, but they are sections to be an entertainment website. Now, let's move gradually to health and fitness. Health and fitness websites are websites that will just tell you about physical structure or body system or something related to health. They don't um, do hanky panking and then go and be talking about something different to what they are doing. So now, I will cite an example of WebMD. If you go on Google and search for WebMD, when you get there, you are going to be reading articles, different kind of information that is health related. Now we'll move forward and go to travel and tourism. This kind of website, what they do to you is they allow you understand what's going on in the travel world. For example, you want to book a flight, you want to learn about a destination, so maybe you want to learn you are moving to Canada and you need to understand, you want to come up with a budget. What's your budget like? When you go to travel and tourism website, they can offer you travel destination service, booking service, apartment service. They also tell you what the rent like. For example, you've not been in UK, you want to move to UK, you can find websites that will tell you about the properties in UK. What do you need to have? How much is it? So you can build your budget through all these things. So if you're a business owner or somebody looking out to say, oh, I want to have a tourism website, you now have an idea of what your tourism website will be doing. So, for example, if you go to Expedia, Expedia is one of the known travel and tourism websites. Again, booking.com. These are websites that um, the essence is just they need you to come in there, look for alternative routes. If you want apartments, if you want hotels, whatever it is you are looking for in the hospitality section, you will definitely get all that. Then the last but not the least, however, this is not, I won't say this is the last. I just try to make this short and simple. Is personal portfolio. If you are somebody who is in tech, you could build your personal portfolio through Behance, Dribble, GitHub, and some other like that. However, if you are somebody who just wants to talk about yourself, you just want to have a page of website, yes, you can build a portfolio website. And what portfolio website will do for you is just to show exactly who you are. For example, you come in here, oh, who is Raphael? He's so person from so place. What have he done? Blah blah blah. What's his skills? What are his achievements? So these are things that will appear on a personal portfolio website. So let's have a break and just breathe in and breathe out. It's actually not a break, just breathe in and breathe out so you can um, have some calm mind before we move further. So I'm sure you must have written and written out. So I would focus on classification of websites. It is very important for everybody who is a business owner or you are learning about website or you are a pro to understand that website can be classified in two spaces. I have always been a fan of this classification and I will explain. When you say something is static, it is, for example, you have a car that is parked. That car, you will agree with me that your fuel will be intact, your car tire will be there, nothing will happen to the car because it is parked. That's what I want to refer to as static. So when I say a static website is a kind of website that does nothing more than having a simple web page. For example, your portfolio is a static website because all it does is it just puts in your name, your skill set, whatever it is that you can do, and that's all. It stops there. But when it comes to dynamic website is a website that requires a whole lot of things for the user to enjoy their stay on your website. Let me explain with Netflix. If you go to Netflix today, you have to log in or sign up rather. After signing up, you put all your details and they ask you some questions like, oh, what kind of movie do you like to watch? This is dynamic. It means that the movie Raphael wants to watch will be different from the movie Messi wants to watch. And by the time we are putting up our Netflix, the same time, there's always a difference. If I want an action thriller movie and then she wants a romantic movie, we will see different things. And this is what we call dynamic. So now you can differentiate between a static and dynamic. A dynamic means a car that is moving, is always moving, is always moving. And then a car that is parked is static. So the fact that your car is parked, if you go there, if you start it, it will still start. If you want it to move forward, you can still move it and then move it backward. But the fact that people see it there every day, it does not require any effort. For example, it doesn't use fuel, it doesn't wear out because it is parked. But for dynamic cars, when you start them, you move them. By the time you are going, you move from 1 kilometer, your tire could burst, and then you have to replace. So dynamic means something that keeps changing. So, right now the world is moving to a space that you have what is called experience, tailored experience. So, tailored experience means that what I want is different from what you want. So, you will not serve me an application such that when I'm using it, it doesn't serve a purpose. Let me give you a typical scenario. We just built a website for an healthcare agency, a service provider in UK, and this website can allow you, if you're a blind person, if you go onto the website, it will definitely look at what your settings are. Yeah, if you have a family member, then the family member will just set up, oh, this person is blind, and then the website begins to talk to you. And if you're somebody who wants a color difference, you can also pick up a tool on the same website and then it changes. So it means that the website has been built in a dynamic nature to serve people the way they are, not even the way the business is. So that's what we call dynamic. We'll be moving again to the jargon now. So I'm not going to spend too much time now because I think the time is fast spent, and then we need to be snappy about everything. Now, let's go to the jargon. I mentioned domain. What is domain? In a typical word, let me explain domain to be the address of your tweet. Now, Raphael lives in number 10, Solomon Avenue. You now know my domain. That's what I call my domain. So the same thing is, if you want a website, the first thing you should think about is what will be my domain. It is only when you have a domain that somebody can see you. You can see that there's an arrow pointing between the domain and the hosting. So website, domain in the website setting is like an identity. So if you don't give me the address to your house, I will never be there. I cannot know the place. That's what a domain looks like. Number two, hosting. Hosting is a service that stores your website. An example of domain is www.something.com. It depends on what you want. So for advanced people, .com is actually called a TLD, where you can be changing. You can say .org, .edu, depending on your business setting. So let me go back to hosting. Hosting is like a place where you keep all your things. If you have an address, I can tell somebody that I stay in number 10, Solomon Avenue. And when you get to that number 10, there's no house there. It means that I don't exist. So the same thing happens to a website. If you have a domain, you must have a hosting. So typically, the fact that you have an address means that there's a place where your address is talking to. That's what we call hosting. So if you find your developer telling you, oh, your hosting is about to expire, and the person says, no, your domain will not expire now, it means that you have your domain that is active. However, the place where you are keeping all your files is becoming so much that the rent is expiring. Definitely, if you are staying in a house, you must renew your rent. And that's the way hosting works. I'll move to the next slide, which is I think that should tell us about front end and back end. So for my co-developers and then maybe you are new into tech and you are trying to get into tech, you don't even know, oh, you've heard people say front end, I'm a front end developer, I'm a back end developer. Fine. Yes, I will explain today. If you're a front end person, your front end is actually talking to the area where your user can see. Let me give you a typical example. If you go into your house, you see your security man. The security man opens the gate. The only thing people can see from outside is what your building looks like and your fence. Nobody knows what you have inside your house. So I will say the front of your house is called front end, and the back of your room is called back end. So now, front end, what does it do? Front end would definitely be concentrating about how will people see you. For example, if you are looking for a house today and you try to jump from one place to the other, you will find out that you will see some house, they will be dirty. You don't like them. They will not even show, they may not even be able to show you the house itself, the room or the apartment where you'll be staying. But the moment you see the front of the house, you are already feeling bad. And that's why front end of a website matters a whole lot. Now, let's move to the back end. When you get to the back end, the people who have made it possible for that apartment to look nice. For example, in a typical real world scenario, you want to build a house. The moment you finish building the house, the back end person will stay in one place until you need the person again. Let me tell you what a back end person is in a real estate kind of. If you are building a house, your carpenter, your painter, your constructor, maybe your construction engineer, people that work together to make that house a success, we call them backend. However, your front end person is the architect, because the architect is just showing to people, oh, this is what the house looks like. However, he will not be the one to even build the house. So now you can differentiate between front end and back end. If you are going to be a front end person, trust me, you must actually know some level of coding. For example, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. But for a back end person, you will definitely know more because you are the engineer that will make everything work. That I am an architect does not make me a civil engineer. They are two different things. So in these two cases, an architect is the front end, a civil engineer is the back end. So I want to move further to the next slide. That talks about Okay. The key role, this should be CMS. Yeah, we want to talk about CMS now. What do you refer to as CMS? What do you refer to as CMS? CMS is not just a word. Yeah, we know there's always a CMS in Nigeria, maybe in Eko, but that's not what we are referring to. When you hear the word CMS, CMS refers to it's a way that it is easy for anybody to manage a website. We call that content management system. So in a content management system, it's easier for somebody who really does not know anything about website to be able to manage. For example, you could call us to say, oh, I want to build a blog. And then after building the blog, you then talk to maybe the web developer to say, I want to be able to do something on my website. We can give you a little privilege for you to have access to the website and do anything. So it means that it's very friendly for people who are not tech related to engage with a content management system than a typical website. So content management system is actually a software that people have built over time to ease your pain as a website designer or a website user or even a business owner. So it means you can add blog posts, you can actually read your comments, you can publish whatever it is that you like, depending on the area which your business is actually operating from. Then I will move to user experience because of the time. User experience is the way a user see your website. For example, if you say you want to sell, you want to build a 3-bedroom flat, right? For example, a 3-bedroom flat plan will be different from a 2-bedroom flat plan. So this is the same thing a user would be telling you about. So user experience is the way, is the feeling that your users, when they go to your website, they see your website and they are like, oh, this website is beautiful. This website is nice. It is fast. I like it. So definitely, you will also go to another website that you will never like. Why? Because you feel like the website doesn't give you the feeling you want. So this is exactly what a user experience is all about. I skipped a slide. I think it's because of the time, but I think I can quickly go back to it. When you say responsive design, there's a difference between responsive design and then when your website looks very fine. Beautiful in a website is actually a layman language. When you say something is responsive, for example, you can imagine that husband and wife, they are sharing the same clothes. That's the meaning of responsive. It means that if the husband wears the clothes, he looks beautiful, he looks handsome, it's fine on him. If the wife do the same thing, it's okay on him. And this is what we call responsive when it comes to design. Anything you are putting on should fit you. So now you will agree with me that a lot of people don't have time to view a website on their desktop machine. When you are using a tablet, the website should look the same. It should look beautiful. It should look so much that you don't even notice that you are on a tab. The same thing applicable to a smartphone. It should also look same way that it doesn't look like you are on a smartphone. Now, that's what a responsive design looks like. Let's go to wireframe. What is a wireframe? For every designer, the first thing you should think about is what would your website look like? That's why they say, oh, have you done a skeleton of your website? I've worked with people that they will tell you, this is how I want my site to be. If it doesn't go this way, I will not like it. So in this way, a lot of people will be engaging with the owner of the website to draw out a plan. And this looks like the plan of your house. Today, you will agree with me that you will not give a bricklayer money until you understand what you want to build. And that's what we call wireframe. Yeah, we've been talking about these things, and then I think while Messi engaged us a little bit, when we are back, we'll talk about the key roles in website architecture, which I think is important. So, Messi, I will leave this over to you in 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Have we been enjoying this section so far? Please let me know. Do you have any questions now? How has the section been? Are you able to hear clearly? Do you have any challenge right now? So you can just let me know in the comment section, or just unmute your mic, or you can just raise your hand so that I can know. So how's the section? If you are enjoying the section, please can you react in the comment section? Like, let me see emojis flying here and there so that I can know that we are truly feeling this section and we are enjoying it. Okay, thank you. I'm already seeing emojis. Thank you. Thank you. So if you want to just quickly take water to refresh, you can just quickly do that. If you have any question, please note it down. You can drop it in the Q&A section or just drop it in the chat box. I'm there, I will see it. And then when it's time for Q&A, we'll respond to all that. I want to hear from someone. Like, I want someone to tell me what they've gained so far, if the section has been engaging. Can I just call someone random? Let me see, who do I call? Let me call Ajibola. Yes, Ajibola, do you want to tell us how this section has been so far for you? You can use the chat box, so you can just unmute yourself. If you're enjoying it, if you have any questions, just what you have learned so far. I think Ajibola is shy, or he is getting ready. If there's any other person that just wants to talk, you can just use the chat box or unmute your mic to talk. Okay. Ebenezer said he loved the lecture and is impactful. Okay, how can I get a note of this lecture? So we are going to we can send this presentation slides to your email. You can just drop your email in the chat box. But at the end of the webinar, we're going to give you an ebook that contains one website jargon. So these ones that we thought will also be included, and 101 more. So, but if you want this presentation slide, we can give it to you. You can just send your email address. We'll send it to you. We'll send it to your email. Okay, Ajibola said, so much noise where I am, but I would prefer to chat. All right, thank you, Ajibola. Section is impactful, well detailed. Thank you, thank you. We like feedbacks like this. If you still want to talk, you can just use the chat box. So we'll continue in the next 1 minute so that we can be able to wrap up on time, so that those that still want to go for Saturday Owambe can still have time to go. Yep. All right, Mr. Ralph, I will hand over to you now. Okay, but Ebenezer, I've seen your email.
Okay, Messi, thank you. I will appreciate everyone's response. Thank you for that. I think I am happy with this feedback. Thank you. So while before we go on break, I think the last thing we talked about was if you are going to be building a website and then someone tells you wireframe, you know, wireframe is just a plan. Let me just, that's a layman language. So the essence of this webinar is just when you hear technical jargon, you should be able to quickly deplete it and bring it into a simple terms, which I think we are all getting along with. So for the key role in website architecture, yes, we've been talking about websites. However, there are a lot of people who plays a big role. Or when you see a website and you say, oh, this website is beautiful, I like it, I do this and I do that, you will agree with me that before you see a beautiful house in Banana Island, you would have, in your own way, know that somebody built it. Yeah, there are even some houses that when they finish painting, you would want to go back to say, oh, who painted this house? So all these together are the people responsible to make that experience. Remember, we talk about user experience. So you as somebody who has seen a house that is beautiful and you like it, you are the user, and then your experience is beautiful because you loved the way the house is structured, and then maybe the painting, the flowers, and all that. So the same thing is applicable to a website. For website architecture, website designers are the first point of contact. Yeah, that you're a website designer actually does not make you a programmer. I would explain. Right now, the world has gone so vast that you can actually build a website using some tools. You know, I've seen a lot of adverts and I've seen a lot of people build their website. In fact, Google even allows you to build a small website that's just direct. And this kind of websites are actually not meant to be a dynamic website. If you are not a programmer and you want to manage a website, you need to understand what as a website designer do. So now, what is the function of a website, a web designer? A web designer will design visual appearance and layout of the website. So they talk to color, typography, graphics, and everything that makes the site look beautiful. Recall that you mentioned front end. Front end is what people are seeing. So if you want to build your house and you give the plan out to an architect, after the architect is done, you can request, oh, Mr. Architect, can I see how this house will look after they build it? And that's why we see today that even before finishing an estate, you already see the view of the house. Sometimes it doesn't look like that though, but it's a visual representation of what your website will look like. So web designers, their function is just to design. So please take this away from this webinar. The core function of a website designer is just to design. And that's why when you give your website out to people and they are done, they tell you they finished the website and you get there, you are pissed. You are actually the cause of the problem. One, you need to understand what's the job role of that person. Is he a web developer or a web designer? Let me now progress. Web developer, what do? They are the ones that makes it possible for you to do some things on your website. For example, if you go to a website and on getting to that website, you want to buy something and you click on it and nothing is happening. The next thing you will do is you leave the site. So it is somebody's responsibility to make sure that every button, every link, everything you see on that website functions the way they should be. So if I'm buying a car and I go to cars45.com or whatever it is, or whatever website I want to go to, when I click, I should be able to get a next prompt of what should happen next, which is like an action. So if I am looking at a way of developing a website that is dynamic, then I must be sure that the person designing my website is a programmer or is a web developer. So people mix it together. You know, I remember maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was to send a proposal for a website, and then I sent the bill. They saw the bill. Along the line, the person comes to me, oh, what is this? I will pay somebody 30,000 naira. They will just do the site for me. You know, yeah, I quite understand the own plight of the story. It is fine. It's okay. However, I knew somebody who is advertising me to buy a 10,000 website and somebody building a website for about 300K, 400K. Definitely, trust me, there's difference between the two. It's just like buying a car of 1995 and buying a 2023 model. You will definitely see a difference. So a web developer is capable of making sure that your website moves from that dummy to being active. So if you go to a website now and you click on a button to chat, and after clicking on the button, it's not doing anything. There are a lot of websites like that. So it means that the web developer did not do what he's supposed to do. And that is the essence of having a front-end person and a back-end person. So if you are looking to go into programming and you say, oh, I want to be a front-end person. Yes, as a website designer, you definitely need to one day do JavaScript, making your website look fine, beautiful. For example, if I click on something and it pops out, PIN, as it is popping out, it means that somebody has been responsible to make that function work. So, web designer, web developer, that kind of career is very interwoven. As a website designer, you can also be a developer. And as a web developer, sometimes you may not be able to design. Yes, so you may only have maybe few or little knowledge about designing. However, you must understand design. So if you're a back-end person, somebody does the design, they transfer it to you, and you begin to make it function. Let me explain very well. You know, when you walk to a barber shop, there are some people, the only thing they know how to do is they just say, oh, what side do you want? You want punch, and they do punch. By the time you now bring another new side to them, they will tell you, sir, this one does not fit you. It's not because it doesn't fit you. Sometimes it's because they are not capable of handling that request. And that's why it's good to understand the role of a web designer and the function of a web developer. So if I'm going to give a project and say, are you a web developer or web designer? If you are a tech person and you know what you are doing, you should be able to convince me to say, I am a web developer. However, I do design. So that's how it works. I will be moving to the next, which is a web analyst. As a web analyst, what happens? As a web analyst, what happens? Web analysts, what they do is they analyze website traffic. To be honest with you, there's a struggle between web designers and business owners, and I will explain in one simple thing. Website owners understand that the moment you build a website, you don't need maintenance, and then the site can work. I built a website like that, and the man just told me, frankly, you know what, Ralph, I can't be paying all this maintenance. And I said, okay, no problem, sir. Yeah, that's what he wants. And it's okay. However, let me tell you, if you are not analyzing your website, the purpose of building it is just zero. Let me explain. Who in this world have you seen that has bought a car and has never gone to a mechanic? Except you are David in the Bible. That's the only person I know that I never read it in the Bible that they took his car to a mechanic or something. Fine. But if in this real world, if you are going to be into web design or you are going to be a website owner, understand that there must be an analysis of your website. And what do they do? A website analyst is somebody who goes to your website and analyze. What do they analyze? That's the question. Before you go to hospital, you must have been feeling something. So the moment you build a website and you are saying, I need you guys to be analyzing this website. The essence of analyzing is to ensure that there is a good website performance. How did that happen? There's something called analytics. What would analytics do? Number one, on a website, and a website analyst should be able to tell you how many people are coming to your website every day. If you don't have that report, your website is as good as you have a shop in a Koidumota that nobody knows. Again, they will also tell you how are search engine in your website. Let me explain that to what search engine. For example, if you go to Google today, I'm going to use a client as an example. If you go to Google today and you type flower care service, the website you built for flower care will pop up on Google. Why? Because we are always analyzing the site to make sure that that site ranks well on search engine. So if you want to hide from people, you can actually build an underground house. So if you are building a website today and nobody is managing the site for you, nobody is analyzing the site for you, I'm going to tell you in this webinar that you have just built a site that people are seeing underground. And trust me, any house built underground, you already agree with me that nobody will see. So the job function of an analyst is to make sure that the web developer and web designer are doing their job by giving you clear metrics, giving you parameters. If you are driving a car from 2000 and maybe 19 or even 2009 model, those cars can go to a scan center where they will diagnose and tell you what the problem is. You now carry the problem and take it to mechanic. That's the way a web analyst is. So after a web analyst has done his own function, they go to web developer and present. Web developer will now be the one to say, oh, let me adjust this and that. That's the function. Now let's move to SEO specialists. These people are the ones responsible to guide everybody. Even the analyst, they work in line with the analyst, the developer, and the designer. You see, I will take this as, let me give this as a report to us. We've actually handled a website that the website was loading for about 30 seconds, which is quite not the standard of the speed for website load. So what did the person told us? The person told us, oh, this website loads slow, there's a lot of problems. So what we did was we analyzed the website. Then we gave the SEO person access. Go and go through all these things. What exactly is the problem? The person now told us, oh, it loads at certain speed. Now, what we now know what we need to correct. And for good for us, we're able to make this time reduce from 30 seconds to 0.1 seconds, which is a long rope. How did we do it? Is by analyzing. After analyzing, the SEO person comes on board and recommends. Now, the web developer begins with our own job and begins to fine tune. Then the web designer also takes his own practice carefully so that we can achieve a goal. So SEO person is somebody who is responsible to tell you what are people saying about your website. What is search engine saying about your website? How do Google see you? How do Microsoft see you? How do a lot of things like that. So that's the function of an SEO person. Then now, the people we don't talk about most often are system administrator and database administrator. System administrator are people who set up. For example, in every place that we work, we have an admin. What's the function of an admin? The function of an admin is just to say, oh, we have a meeting every Monday. This is everything we need. This is projector. So the function of the system administrator is to give you the tools you want. However, the database administrator is somebody who makes sure that every data you have on your website is secured, and then there's a backup plan and recovery plan. So I think I've been able to explain the key role in website architecture. There are many more roles, but I just have to compact this so that we don't have to go through 4 or 5 slides just to explain the people who works on a website. So if you know about this, I'm sure by the time you are meeting somebody to discuss a website, you can actually tell the strength that they hold in their role. So I will be moving further. I'm going to CSS. Yeah, for people in tech already, and then maybe you are just about entering tech. You've been seeing it fly around. What's CSS? What's CSS? What's this? What's that? CSS is actually a form of simple interface where you write some level of codes in English language. For example, if I want to build I can build my house based on what the architecture is telling me. However, after building this house, there's somebody who will be painting the house. That's what we call CSS in website jargon. So if you are looking to paint your house blue, it means that you must tell your painter, I want my house blue. I want my house blue. Yeah, you must also tell your interior decorator, oh, this is where I want my shelf. You must also be able to tell your carpenter, I don't want short feet, I want big feet. So when you see somebody saying, oh, I am doing CSS, I'm doing CSS, what they are trying to tell you is they are making your website look more beautiful, organized, and attractive. I think I've been able to communicate that in a simple language. So when you see oh, CSS, they're flying everywhere, what they are just doing is they are styling. For example, what I ordered versus what I get. You agree with me? You will see a dress online. You now go and give it to a tailor. After the tailor finish the dress, you see the dress and you'll be shocked. Like, oh, why did you show this kind of nonsense for me? So, but by the time you pick up this dress and give it to another person who is experienced, they will now tell you, is this what you want? No problem. They will begin to fine-tune the dress and make it look more beautiful. That's what we call CSS. Now we move to JavaScript. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a language that would allow you to interact with your website. Let me explain. Everybody uses YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you click on subscribe, you can see a little pop-up button that will tell you what next to do. So it is like it is giving you more room to take a decision just on the same page. Now, let me bring it down to what we can relate with. Now, let's look at JavaScript as electricity in our house. You know, you can have your TV set, your sound system without electricity. Will they work? No. So the essence of this programming language is to make sure that things are working. So that's what we call JavaScript. So in layman language, when somebody tells you, oh, your website, does it run JavaScript? Does it? So what you have to do is you ask your web developer, in what language is your website configured? I will move to the next, navigation. What is navigation? If you are going from Lagos to Ghana, you must navigate. So it means that you must have find a way to get your ticket, prepare your passport, and then move. So until you are able to secure those things, there is nothing. So the moment you are landing on a website, there is something called navigation. This navigation is what people refer to as menu. You would have seen when you go to a website, you would have seen was some list like home, about us, services, contact us, all these things are what we call navigation. However, if you are going to your house and you click on Google Map will be taking you from one route to the other. That's what I would explain as the navigation. So if you are also in your own apartment and you have two doors to your house, if you don't want visitors to come in through the first door, you can actually open the second door and then you prepare a navigation system that will take them through. So this is how a navigation works for a website. I hope that's clear. So we are gradually moving to the last three slides. We have about 15 to 16 things to talk about. This is number 13. Now, this is one of the most important things in a website that people don't talk about. If you hear people saying cross-browser compatibility, I will explain. Recall that I mentioned that responsive is making sure your website is matching every places that it is being visited from. And I explained by saying that when a husband and wife are wearing the same clothes, and you will not even know when the husband wears takes picture, you like it. The wife will also do the same thing, you like it, because they have the same stature or maybe the same body structure, and they don't even change. The clothes doesn't change. That's what we call responsiveness. Regardless of who wears the clothes, if it is color black, it will continue to be color black. That's what we call responsiveness. Now, when I say cross-browser, it's a different thing. I would want to tell you about the major browsers we have currently. We have Chrome, we have Firefox, we have Safari, we have Opera, and then we have many others. Now, if you are a business owner and then you wake up one morning and visit your website on Safari and your website is not coming up, I will tell you today that it means the website is not compatible with that browser. And that's a loss to that business because if a website must actually be compatible with all browsers. Yeah, every website you have built, at least you built more than 80 websites, a portfolio, every website you have built, if you go to Safari, you load it, it's loading. If you go to Firefox, you load it, it's loading. If you go to Chrome, you load it, it's loading. This is what they call cross-browser compatibility. So it's like you want to buy a car, you're a family man, and you want to buy a two-door car. You're already making life uncomfortable for yourself. So it means that the moment you have about 4 or 5 children, they will struggle. And that's the same thing compatibility of browser means your website will not work well if your website is not cross-browser compatible. So my dear brothers and sisters, moms, dad, auntie, whoever is here, business owners, ensure that any website you are building can actually be viewed every browser that I have mentioned. It is important. It is very, very important. That's what we call cross-browser compatibility. So imagine that you have a shop and then the shop where you see it here and you go to another state, the shop structure is just the same thing. A lot of people will definitely welcome with your brand. But the moment they go to this side of the shop is looking different, this one is looking different. So that's not good enough for a brand. I'll be moving to the next slide, which is slide 14. This is called landing page. Yeah, I'll talk more about this because a lot of people are struggling to understand what a landing page is and a website. There's a difference between a website and a landing page. In simple terms, a landing page will allow you to promote a particular thing. Just talk about one thing based on offer. So, for example, let me pick one of the audience. Okay, let me pick, I want to pick Modupe. For example, if Modupe wants to sell a bag, and while she's selling this bag, she wants to tell people, oh, my bag is 10,000 naira. However, come and buy it for 2,000 naira. You don't need a website, though. What you need is a landing page. I will tell you why. A website will allow people go to so many pages on your website. Like you are already taking their center of attraction away. But if you are building a landing page will allow them stick to exactly what you want them to see. And that's why when people are saying, no, I want to do something, I want my product to sell, and all that. How many products do you have? If you have a 10 products and you are looking to build a website, fine, no problem. We can build for you. But my kind of person, if I'm consulting for you, I'll tell you, you do not need a website. What you need is a landing page because the only thing you want to do is you just want this product to be at the forefront of people. And that's the difference between a landing page and a website. So if you are looking to promote a particular product, for example, people ship things from China, from different countries, and then bring it to Nigeria. So imagine that you are selling different bags, specific products now, different bags, and you are selling just 5 types of it. Why do you have to build a website? No, just talk to somebody. I want a landing page where I can advertise to and people will buy, and then I get my money. So example of this thing are website that is really built for a particular promotion. So we've seen a lot of people come to us and say, I want a website, I want to sell this product. No. And then we end up telling them, all you need is just a landing page. So Now, I think I've been able to let you understand that there's a difference between landing page and a website. If you are looking to sell a particular part of product, for example, if you are a fashionista and then you are selling bags and you want to sell those bags, I would tell you if those bags are just maybe 5 or 10 different sizes, and that's what you just want to keep selling, you do not need a website, you need a landing page. So the last but not the least of the jargon, so that we can actually do some other things for the day, is SEO friendly. What do you refer to as SEO friendly? If you are going to have a shop and in the front of the shop, you have a drainage that is bringing out different kind of cockroaches, bugs, flies, and sort of thing. Do you think people would come to you? No. In fact, that's a different ball game. Let me now break it down. I have my shop in, let me say I have my shop in, you know how big Ireland is. I don't have a shop in Ireland. I don't have a signboard. I don't have a signpost. I don't have a business card. I don't have anything. And then I want people to come and buy from me. You have not, it means your website is not SEO friendly. Your shop is not SEO friendly. SEO means that when people are looking for you, they must find you. Whether you are operating from Congo or operating from Zimbabwe, people must be able to find you at every point in time. So it means that when you are building a shop for your business, you must also think of how will people see me. So, and in a typical shop setting, the first thing you think about is I need a big signpost. That's the same thing is applicable to website. So, in the case of websites, what is applicable is that when people come to your website or they are looking for you, for example, let me give you a typical scenario. Myself, let me say Modupe, let me say Messi, we are selling shoes, and then we have a website, and somebody in maybe Akure or a far distance wants to buy from Lagos, and they come to Google and say footwear or shoes seller in Lagos. And the three of us, they can't find anything about that we sell shoes. It means that our website is a dead region. And that's why we have people with websites and it's just there. And you know, at the long run, these business owners will come back and say, I'm just paying for hosting, I'm just paying for this, I'm not getting anything. And that's why you need to pick up a service that makes sure that you are not just having a website. So when your website becomes SEO friendly, it means that somebody somewhere is researching every time to make sure that people are searching for you. For example, now, if you pick up a name of any pastor and put it on Google, you will find them. The only reason why you find them is because they exist in that space. If they never existed, you will not know them. So that's what SEO means. So I will leave this to Messi to undo. I think we've come to a particular spot where we can now entertain questions and answers. So if you have any questions, Messi will bring that up and then I can answer the questions. So Messi, please over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that section. Please, if you enjoyed this section, if you enjoyed since when you joined to now, I think some people's network was bad. They had to join and rejoin. Please let me see in the chat box, react. Let me just know. If you have any questions, you can just drop it in the chat box. We'll be rounding up soon. I think we've taken a lot of our time. This was supposed to be 1 hour, but it's also engaging, and I forgot that time had gone. But so if you have any questions, can just drop it in the chat box. We'll take around 4 to 5 questions because time has gone. If you enjoyed, you can just tell us what you learned. You learned 1 or 2. I think we've been able to gain a lot. This was very interactive, very engaging. We called the name of this webinar Understanding Website Jargon so that we can be able to understand it well in simple terms. I think we've been able to do justice to that. So if you have any questions, if you have anything to say, maybe you just want to know more about Avario, just anything, you can just drop it in the chat box. You can follow us on LinkedIn, you can follow us on Instagram. I've dropped our handle. And I'll also drop our email address so that in case you have any question or any service that you'd like us to provide. So I know some people might be thinking that, oh, so after this webinar, is that just one? So this webinar is a series and another one will be coming up. We'll communicate the dates with you. So it will either come up in July or August, but it will most probably be in August when the students will be on holiday so that more students that are interested in website design will be able to join. And okay, so this is a top secret that I want to drop. So this year, we are going to be starting an academy for students that are going to be finishing secondary school, whereby once they are through with their secondary school, they can register with our academy to learn websites development, UI, UX, graphics design. And then there's going to be an internship for the best students. So basically, it's going to be there are many things we have planned for the academy, one of which is that there's going to be competitions among schools. So these top students that is the best students inter-school is going to get an internship with us at our company, a paid internship. So this thing is still top secret, but since you are in this webinar, I'm just sharing it. So if you are interested, you can just follow us on our IG, LinkedIn, Facebook. Once it's available, we're going to drop the updates there. And our website also, www.avarodigitals. Everything that we do is on our website. There's nothing you want to know about us that you can't find on our website. You can reach out to each and every one of us also through our website. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. If you're happy, if you enjoyed this webinar, if you are glad that you joined it, can I know, like, can you drop emojis in the chat box, raise your hand, just let me know that you enjoyed it, that it was worth your time. I mean, for you to take out your Saturdays are for resting, home and bed, parties and all. For you to take it out and decide that, let me just attend it, that means there's something you wanted to gain. And I want to know if you were able to achieve that. You can just drop a reaction in the chat box. If you have any questions, if you are shy, you don't want to ask your question in public, I'll drop our email address so you can reach out to us on our email address. Okay. Thank you for everyone that was able to join us. This was engaging and worked well. So I'll drop our email address where you can reach out to us. So if you want this slide, if you want the whole slide, you can just drop your email address. So we'll send it to you. And also the ebook. So we are going to be giving you, for joining this webinar, we're going to be giving you an ebook for free. 101 way. So this whole website jargon, that some of it, I think we're able to cover 14 or 15 of them. So we'll give you an ebook that contains 101 of this website jargon. So you can just drop your email address if you want it to be sent to your email address. You can drop your email address in the chat box. So we'll send it to you. And about some of our products at Avario is the school suits, mouth points, patient. So school suits is for schools. So is a school software that students. So it's basically for schools that want to digitalize their education process. They want to make sure that they are digitalized. So you don't need to. We are not in a world that we don't need to carry files all around. So everything is digitalized. You're learning your exams. You have a website. So that's school suit. Math Point is for supermarkets. It is an ERP for supermarkets. Then Patient Soft is for hospitals. So we have a software for hospitals that help them to digitalize their hospital processes and just makes life. So basically, what Avario is about, just allow your life to be easy, just makes your life easy and for you to be able to digitalize your process.
Okay, Mercy, thank you. Thank you for that word. I appreciate everybody in this webinar, and I think I want to just make things smart enough so that we can go home. Yeah, if you are struggling to understand who our value is, we are not just a website designer. We are a brand whose vision is just to provide technology service at a very revolutionary price in a very safe and workplace where people can work and then feel happy that they are working. Yeah, we've done a whole lot of projects. As you can see on the presentation, we've covered enough, and we are still doing more, both local and international. So peradventure, if you have a project to discuss, we offer free consultation in Avario. We do not charge you. Yeah, we just talk about your project, and then you tell us what and what you want, then we can help you, we can assist you bring your project to life. Yeah, we build a lot of products, but most of the products we have built, the top 3 products are just the school suite, SmartPoint, and then PatientSoft. PatientSoft is an hospital management software. So you imagine having to go to the hospital and then you already booked an appointment, and you know the doctor you are seeing, you know what time, you can view how much you spent in the hospital for maybe 1 year and all that. So this is just, our core is just making sure that process is digitalized. So that's essence of Avario Digitals. And again, let me appreciate us for joining this webinar, spending time and energy, spending data. It's not easy in this kind of country that we find ourselves, but we still showed up. So I appreciate your kind gesture for joining this webinar. So as she has said, it's going to be something that would recur. So it's a recurring activity. So as much as we have your email, we'll definitely notify you if any other thing is coming up for our value. So please, as soon as we are launching our academy, you'll be invited, and we'll definitely want to even give you a slot to nominate somebody for scholarship. So yeah, that's one of the things we are working on here. We want to ensure that people can learn without difficulty. And I know by the grace of God, the academy will be floating in this year. Yes, in this year, we are going to be floating the academy. So it will be a room for whether you are age, you are small, you are big, you can learn at your own pace. You can learn at your own pace. Yeah, we understand that Africa learning style is different from Europeans, UK, Canada, and all these kind of people. That's why people struggle to even understand. When they watch videos online, they still want to find somebody that can interpret to them. It's not because they don't know or they are dull. No, it's because the learning style is not actually being given concession. If I say I'm an African and then I'm putting out an article as an African, you as an African person would read and understand because I am writing in a terms that you understand. So that's basically what our academy will be doing. It's open to everybody, whether you are old, whether you are young. However, there's no old person on this world. Learning is continuous. And I want to reach us from my own end. I think I want to reach us a happy day. Please do well by following us on social media. On Instagram, you can search for @Avario Digital. Twitter same, TikTok same, YouTube same. Then on LinkedIn, follow us. We are Avario Digital. And then on Facebook, Avario Digital with double L. So I will leave us for now, and I think Messi would round up the webinar. Thank you, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, just before we go, we have 2 questions so Agbola and Joshua have a question. So I'll take Agbola first. So she said that are there some languages particularly for backend or frontend? So what she means that if I want to be a front-end developer, there's some language I need to learn. If I want to be a back-end developer, what languages do I need to learn?
Okay, thank you for that question. In a simple term, a backend person is responsible for programming. So now, when we now come back to what's the question for the first person? Because I'm saying two questions.
Yes, the first person says,
okay,
are there some language particularly for backend or front-end?
Yeah. Okay. Now, the first question, there are some programming language for front end that may not be applicable in back end. In fact, not may, it will not be applicable in back end. For example, if you're a front end person, I explain a front end person to be somebody who is actually, responsibility is styling. Your responsibility is user experience, how people see your website. So people like that would actually play between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In fact, though, if you want to learn anything as a front-end person, please focus on those three things. It is if you have those three skills, you become a better front-end engineer. So what do you do with all these things? If you are writing CSS, you are styling. The styling means that you want to make your website look more beautiful. So at that level, you do not need a secondary function, because secondary function means that you are a backend person. I will explain between the two. I want to build a house and I need an architecture, maybe an architect, to draw up something. Oh, this is my house. After I take this thing, I take it to maybe a civil engineer. However, how we do it in this part of the world. You just find one good player that is good and hand it over, and then begin to find somebody who can help the person interpret. And the person say, oh, okay, yes. The moment this person picks this design, it's not now the concern of a backend person, which is an architect. So the architect would have used a lot of software to prepare the whole thing. So that's the same thing that happens between front-end and back-end. So if you're a front-end engineer, you have to focus on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript if you're a front-end engineer. So it means that there are some languages that you cannot do as a front-end. It doesn't mean that you cannot do it, but when you are doing your job, it may not be applicable. Now, backend is like the high-level hierarchy of what a front-end person is doing. By the time you build all your website, the button is fine. When you click on the button, where does it go? You need somebody to program that button to work. That's a backend. So for a backend person, you can go about doing AngularJS, React, Rugby, PHP, Python, and some other languages like that. So there's a difference between the language you should focus on if you are going into front end and also if you are going into back end. I think that answers the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So, Agbola, please let us know if you have any other question and if he was able to answer the question well. So, for the other question, Joshua says that which programming language is more dynamic and has a large functionalities and easy to learn? So, basically, he's asking that which one is easy to learn, like which one will I be able to apply to a lot of softwares, either front end or back end, and it's not so hard and is easy to learn. So I think that's his question.
Okay. Right now, it depends on if you say a programming language that is versatile, that can be applicable anywhere. I would tell you Python, PHP, JavaScript. In fact, JavaScript is one of the most demanding skill sets right now, and I will tell you why. There's a lot happening on applications. The world has become so simple that when you go to a website and they tell you, oh, design your website, the moment you finish designing, they will now tell you, start automating. The automation will now look like, oh, drag this, drag that, program it. It is a function of a JavaScript person to do all that. So if you learn JavaScript, it's a good programming language that will not be fading off in the next 20 years. it will not be fading off in the next 20 years. So it's one of the best programming language that can actually help you. However, if you really want to go into the script kind of programming language, you can also learn React. You can also learn PHP or Python. So all these languages are applicable in everywhere you go to. Everywhere you go to, you definitely find them useful. So I think that's the question.
Thank you, sir. Joshua, please let us know if that answers your question and if you have any other one. So if there's no question again, if nobody has any question, I want to say thank you so much once again for joining this webinar, and I hope you had a good time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and you have a blessed week next week. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Ralph, is there any other thing you'd like to say?
Not really. Not
All right,
really.
Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you everybody for joining. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via mail at hello@abarodigitals.com. If you want to reach us on Instagram, the link is there, LinkedIn. And if you also want to reach us on WhatsApp, our number, you can check our number on our website. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody. Have a nice day. Bye. The recording of this will be sent to your email. So if you want, and also the 101 website jargon.